Hi everyone. We've got two great guests on tonight. I want you to listen to them. If you've got any questions to ask or any comments about last night and what we're expecting to the end of the season, just ask these two lads. One's an author actually, and it's this fella coming on. There he is, and
Here
there
I
he's
am.
up again. There he is.
Hello.
Hey, Peter, you're okay?
Yes, good. Thanks yourself.
Oh, I'm good, thanks. I'm going to bring Tommy Batty in now, another good red to the stream, and there's Tommy there. Look at that. Look at
All right, Frank. All right, Pete.
Hi, Tommy. You all right?
All right, mate.
All the big handsome fellas there, all the big reds. We were all crying last night. Listen, Peter, you know when the end of the game last night, was you overly disappointed?
Well, it's one of them. I think we all had a little bit of a dream, didn't we, in the back of our minds, maybe that we could do it. I think even though the Barcelona one, it was a good few years ago, seemed improbable. Yeah. Even the day, I think we all had a little feeling in our stomach that something could happen. I think that feeling maybe wasn't there for everyone yesterday. So it was, if we can make the dream come true, that'd be great. But I just didn't want us to get embarrassed. And I don't think we did overly. I mean, they definitely dominated the game, had more of the ball, and we didn't really high scoring, did we? So I wasn't like heartbroken because I didn't expect us to do anything. As I say, we didn't get embarrassed. So it's him. It's probably a step off from that. You know, it was a bit upsetting, but probably expected.
Yeah, same as myself. I wasn't overly disappointed because, to be honest, deep down, I knew the outcome. Because when you were saying about the Barca game, you know, it was at Anfield, the Barca game. Not only was it at Anfield, but I think we had a better midfield then. You know, we just had a far better midfield, if you know what I mean. And that's the way I felt. And I knew that. I just wanted us not to be humiliated. That's all that I wanted. And we kept the score down. That did me. I'm going over to Tommy. Tommy, what do you think about? What did you think about after the game? Was you overly disappointed, or
I wasn't overly disappointed, Frank. I wasn't overly, but it was just a performance. There was no, how can you say? There was no leader on the pitch for the start. Nobody to look to, and to keep us going. We started with 4 forwards.
Yeah.
And we were just not in the game, mate. Madrid managed that game from start to finish. And he never even got out of second gear, really, when you look at it.
No.
And only for Allison, it could have been embarrassing.
Yeah, totally agree there, because Ali did keep the score down. He did keep the score down.
Well, he made 2 saves, but he had no right to.
No,
he had no right to make them saves.
Well, that Vinicius save, you know, it was out of this world. One of the best saves I've ever seen him make, to be honest. And then, do you know what? I don't know about you, Peter, but what was pivotal to me, and let me know what was pivotal to you as well. The first few minutes, we got a corner, and I think it was not in the first few minutes. In the first few minutes, we seemed to be like going at them, if you know what I mean. We seemed to be going at them. And I never said it will happen, but we were playing good. And then all of a sudden, we just started to fall away within 5 minutes. You know, we were all right for 5 minutes. And then we just started to fall away. Gradually. And they started to take the momentum up then and took the sting out of us. What do you think as well?
Yeah, well, I think that unfortunately similar to what happened to Bournemouth as well, wasn't it? We went in and we looked good for the first 10, 15 minutes. And I think, you know, last night, about you think Núñez has got a decent chance. You know, I think Charlie Adams said something, said he should have done much better. It wasn't really a massive chance, was it? It was hard for him. Like, he could have took it a little bit better. But as you say, you're just waiting for something to happen, aren't you? Those type of games. And I think Madrid did look a little bit edgy at the start. And, you know, it's one of them. It's all mental, isn't it? And you're like, you know, the 3 goals up. But if we get an early one, it would have changed the game. But whether, like Klopp said, we've got to score by the 20th minute or something, but as you said, that it just seemed to drop off quite quickly, didn't it? And then when we got the second half, when it was like 3 hour mark, I think it just felt like that when Nunes came off, which, you know, some people aren't too happy with. But when that happened, it did seem like we just lost all chance of getting a goal and hope and everything. And like you said, the atmosphere just, they killed the game. Everyone was walking around the pitch, and you just knew then you had no chance. And I think other than them scoring, it was just like, it just felt like a 0-0 boring game, didn't it? Which is exactly what they had to do. And that was perfect. That's how you get through in Europe. And, you know, I'm saying to my dad after, I think they're the only team in Europe who aren't scared of us. I think probably you might say this season, the Premier League, there'll be teams come and say, oh, we can beat them because we're not playing well. And that's true. But I think anyone else in Europe, they have that fear factor that we can come back from that 3 goals, and they'd all have been scared. And I think they're the only team who haven't seen like 5 of the last 7 years. They've knocked us out or something mad like that. And obviously they're the most successful team in European football. And that's, we are there to us what we are to everyone else, which is unfortunate. But, you know, they just, as you said, they dominated us. And it's sad to say, but other than the first 10 minutes in the first leg and maybe 5-10 minutes there, we looked like we were proper in the game. The rest, it was all we did.
Well, I think myself personally, even if we would have scored early, which would have put the pressure on them. But the way they were, they could have just gone, let's go up a gear here. Let's go up a gear.
Yeah.
Because really, they just managed the game brilliantly. They've done what they had to do without overextending themselves. And we weren't like, well, I said before, we weren't at the races. We weren't even up with them. And that's the sad part about it.
Yeah, well, that's Modric and Cruz in the middle. Sorry to interrupt, but them two there just like they can pass the ball around for a week, can't they? And no matter how old they are, and people get grief for Milner starting. I thought Milner played quite well, but those two lads in the 30s in the middle just absolutely dominating the game. And Modric is unbelievable, isn't he? And she said if we'd have got 1 or 2, they probably would have just kept the ball for an hour and just not let us get the game. So, but
I thought Milner was our best player in the first half. Thought he was excellent in the first half, Milner. But then, no, he can't keep that momentum.
No, he's too old. He's too old. And when we have to rely on a 37-year-old man running around and trying to run around like with 21 and 22-year-olds who have got legs. But then again, there's Cruz and Modric. I think they're around the same age as Milner. But I don't know what they're on, because they were just absolutely fantastic. They had the legs, they had the vision, they had everything. They were creative. Milner's not a creative player. So don't forget the last few years as well. Milner's been putting that right back and left back and every other back, if you know what I mean. And he's never really had the option of playing in midfield. So he was just dragged out, wasn't he, for that game last night? He was dragged out because of Henderson out and Bacetic out. And, you know, so I didn't expect it. I really didn't expect it. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to say to you, Peter, less than 12 months ago, we played in Paris against them. And we were favourites to win. And we were the better side than them. So what's happened? Can you put your finger on what's happened?
Well, I think if anyone could, we wouldn't be where we are, was we? It's not exactly dire situations, but obviously I think Klopp doesn't know what's happened, and I'm not doubting him in any way. Obviously, I'm fully behind him, but I think there's just something missing, isn't there? Whether you say it's the longest season, playing every game possible, then you got the World Cup on top of that, you got a shorter pre-season, that all definitely doesn't help, and the fact that we didn't beat them and we lost to Man City on the last day, and all that will definitely add up mentally and physically. And obviously, it seems like an easy way out, and there's also people not playing well enough. You know, like Trent. Obviously, I'm a big fan of him, but like Vinicius just had him every single time. I think it was the record amount of times a player's been dribbled past in the Champions League either this season or for a long time, and it was Vinicius on Trent, and he just had his number, and it looked too easy for him to get in on that side. And it's just confidence as well. You know, if we hadn't lost to Bournemouth, say we'd have gone and put another 7 past them like we did after United, that might have helped us. But we took a big blow before the match, didn't we? And it's just been that season where it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and we just can't get ourselves going. So The answer, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows that that's the problem. We're all hoping it's just they're a bit tired and we need a couple of new signings. But if that happens again next year, then it is a worry because what is it that we need to do? But these players can't have been 2 games away from winning a quadruple to suddenly not good enough for top 4 football. Something's happened, and hopefully, as I say, it's just that they need a good rest over the summer and we'll be fine for next season.
Okay, can you put your finger on it, Tom? Why all of a sudden, we're struggling this season, no matter what, from being favourites in a Champions League final.
I think with the momentum we've had over the last, say, at least 4 seasons, no team would be able to keep that up. Don't care who they were. No one would have kept that up the way we played. We were unplayable some games. So, and the thing was for me, and I know what you think, we never recruited when we were strong. That's when we should have recruited. When we had a strong team. And we never. Now, them players now, to me, they're blown out. After what they've done over the last 4 or 5 seasons, they're blown out. They just can't keep that up.
Well, I think you're right there. That's your opinion, and my opinion is all the same. Is that you knew what I thought about 2 seasons ago, what I said we should bring in, and this season, the beginning of this season, I said we really need now 2 midfielders, not the one I said the season before because we never got them, or any midfielder that is. And this season, I said we need 2 world class or top class, top draw midfielders, and we never brought them in. And I really thought that we were going to bring them in at least 1 in January, but we didn't. We went out instead and brought in a forward.
Yeah,
and that's my take on the whole of the thing.
I think when you look at our forwards, I don't think we've got much to worry about. It's just the middle of the park, and I think we need another central defender.
I think with Joe Gomez, I thought we had a good 4th choice, but it's just whether he's not playing enough football to get himself in a rhythm that when he does play, he can take a chance, or whether he has just declined as much as what all worried he has. Because that season when we won the league, when him and Van Dijk looked like they'd have been the partnership for the next 10 years, and Gomez would have saw the next centre back in with him, and it just that Real Madrid game at home, it showed how far he's to climb. As I say, hopefully if he gets to run of games, he'd be back to where he was, because he's useful to help Trent at right back. If he puts the when we're in a game where we need to defend, obviously you can bring him on, and he seems to do that. But I think a central defender is obviously probably something that we might need to look at as well. But I think for the midfielders, we made the choice that keeping Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and signing Milner would be enough for us for the season. I think that's what the decision was that was made. When obviously you two don't agree with that, and that's fine. But I think that's what was made. The decision, wasn't it, that we can afford another year with the options we've got. Bring Arthur Melo in on loan, who obviously hasn't worked because of injuries, and will be all right again. And you obviously both don't agree. That's fine. But having no Henderson and no Bajcetic last night certainly didn't help either.
Yeah. But did you notice Trent last night? Notice Trent last night. He was everywhere, all over that pitch. He was even centre forward at one time. He was everywhere. Yeah. And we were saying before, Frank, weren't we? I think he's saying to Ancelotti, look what I can do. Because I really, really think the way he was standing at the end of that game looking around that pitch, he was in all, wasn't he? If he went, or even Mo went, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah. I was going to say something there, Tommy, and until you butted in, and I forgot what I was going to say.
I did as well. Don't blame him.
Don't blame him, yeah. I was going to say, he's going on about Trent. I'm standing there.
I love him. I love him.
No, but what I was going to say was we, we're all open. We are all open. Hoping that is not open. Hoping to get in a couple of players, midfield especially. we don't need one midfielder. That'll be a useless asset, to be honest. We need minimum of two. Minimum of two. That's what we need. We need a centre-back, as Tommy said, because Konate, he seems to be injury prone. I think all our players are injury prone, and now I'm beginning to think, especially with young Batacek being out for the rest of the season, whether it's in the training as well. I know that they're finely tuned athletes, you know, every sinew and everything else is there. It's all perfect. But I just don't know. They just break down to me. I look at Jota. He just went down, that lad, and he was out for months. He's been out most of the season.
Most of our injuries, Frank, you look at our injuries we have. Like, they're not out for 2 or 3 weeks. They're out for 3 and 4 months. Every one of them. Yeah. And you think, what's happening there? It's crazy.
They're always like little ones, though. They're never, as you say, it's never a leg break. It's always he's hurt his knee, and you expect him to be out for 2 weeks. As you say, with Jota, he was out for months running, and he did a year. All of them. I think it's over in Salah. I think most of them, you can't really rely on any of the others, really. Probably Trent as well, and Robbo, to be fair. They're quite durable, aren't they? But I think everyone else is prone to an injury or two, aren't they?
Well, I think what you said there about Salah, he's the most durable out of the lot of them. Yeah. He can just go on and on and on. And what I disagree with, Pete, as well, and Tommy, is Mo Salah, he's our leading goal scorer. And every time something happens in the league, you know, bad participation, they're always picking on him. For some reason, they're always here, get rid of him, you know, he's useless. He's still our leading goal scorer. And this is
I wouldn't get rid of him.
What do you say, Pete?
Yeah, we have salaries. He's one of them. I think you watch him and like you realise he's good, but his numbers are better than he is, which is a weird one to say. But when you look what he's done and what he's achieved for, he's the top scorer in Europe, top scorer in the Premier League for us ever. You know, that's enough to show how good he is. And they say he never misses a game. Yeah. He's always there when you rely on him. And I think when we're not looking great, they give the ball to him, don't they? Which says a lot. It's who they pass to. All the rest of the players rely on him. I think him and probably Trent as well, the people who can unlock a defence for us and do something magic. Obviously, he misses the pen against Bournemouth, and that opens you up for criticism. But I think there's a lot of Twitter idiots, aren't there, who say everyone's going to go, everyone has to get sold, and if we lose, and when we beat United, we were all back to our best. It's somewhere in the middle, isn't it? But you definitely can't live with the Mo Salah. He's arguably our best player, if not him.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. He's unbelievable, Salah. Unbelievable. But last night, I would have started with Bobby instead of Jota last night. That's what I meant to say before. I would have started with Bobby before Jota.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think Bobby's he's not like an impact sub, is he? I always think when you don't want to bring him off the bench. I think I'm saying this against Bournemouth, he probably was our best player because he's when Thiago's not there as well, I think he's the one who can get through a defence. And, you know, Bournemouth are totally different to Real Madrid, but when they have 10 men behind the ball, you need someone like Bobby doing something in behind. And I never think that Bobby off the bench is what you need. You want him right in the middle of the game. Because even when he came on, his pressing was great as well, when he was pushing people up, Courtois and everything. So,
and he always sees a pass, but nobody else sees.
Yeah.
And his feet are so quick. And I would have started with them last night anyway, before I start.
See, don't forget that he's been out most of the season as Jota. And you can't really blame him. I know that.
I'm not blaming him.
No, I'm not saying you're that. I'm saying, you know, we're not blaming him, you know, just being collective. That's all. Soulboy France says, I wonder if you agree with this. I think it's a cracking comment. The second part of last season, we signed Diaz, and he was on fire and drove us on for the quadruple. And opposition have improved this season. Brighton, Brentford, Arsenal, etc. So what do you think of that about the Diaz thing coming in? And he did, don't forget, it was last January.
Yeah.
Go on, please.
Yeah, sorry, go on. But I think Diaz was... I think he was Mane's replacement. They must have known he was going. they saw the price was there and they got him. But it was perfect when I put Mane through the middle and having Diaz, that impact that made was great. And I think maybe had Mane still been there, I think the news that Firmino was going might have been, maybe not met with joy. You know what I mean? Everyone's gutted about him going. I think it still is the right time. That's fine. But I think Diaz, he just added something totally different, and you can't ignore the fact that he's not played hardly at all this season. That's a massive loss.
Yeah.
And, we lose Mane, and people will all point to that. But we've replaced him, and his replacement hasn't been there. So we've had to then bed in Núñez and Gakpo straight away, which I think Klopp always says the importance of having a pre-season under him and getting to know how to play his style of football. And you'd expect Diaz to be straight into it because he was great last year and he'd be even better. But we just haven't been able to have him. And then the other teams are getting better. There's no easy game in the Premier League. It's Brentford, obviously, we expected that we'd win, but they weren't terrible when we played them. They're well organised side who can play football.
Yeah.
You can't go and roll teams over a 7-0 every week. Thankfully, we did against United, but there's not there's definitely no easy game. Even Everton aren't terrible, and they're right in the mix with it all. And they're probably as good as a 10th place team were 5-10 years ago, but that's the bottom of the league now because of how competitive it is.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree with that.
Well, the frightening thought now is next season, because if we don't get the players to the standard that we have been for the last 5 or 6 years under Klopp, and we bring in, and we're going to rely more or less on the youngsters, and then we're going to bring in 1 or 2 players not at the calibre of what we need. I think that's the most frighteningest thought we can have, really, because we could just easily become a mid-table side. We can't just look and say, this side's going to be all great and everything else next season, because there's so many who's going to leave the club, so many, especially the midfielders. And I really believe minimum of 2 midfielders we need, a minimum of 2. We really need 3, to be honest. But I just don't know. I don't know anymore. It's really got to me. I don't know about getting to you as well. So how many players?
The thing is, Frank, we need midfielders, right, who are proven for me in the Premiership. Because it's the hardest league in the world. And it's okay saying we can go and get big names from the continent. But if they ever played in such battles, what they're going to do in that Premiership, we need great midfielders. And there is some in the Premiership. There are some great midfielders in the Premiership who are proven, who don't get injured. That's my main worry.
Have you got anyone in mind, Tommy? What you're saying about, we've got some in the Premiership.
I like Mason Mount. I like Declan Rice. And there's a lad at West Ham, and he's not a big name. But I watched him the other week, and he was absolutely tremendous. So, there's players there to come in who are proven in the Premiership. And I think that's essential for me.
Would you go along with Declan Rice and Jason Mount? Not Jason Mount, I'm sorry. Mason Mount.
His brother, he might be cheaper. I think if we wanted to get Rice, we can't get Bellingham, and that's what the discussion is. You don't know whether we will or won't, but I think we've got the money for 1 superstar midfielder, and then we're going to have to sign, as you say, another 1, 2, or 3 to go alongside him. Maybe Bajcetic's thought is he could be one of the signings for next year, but you are going to have to replace Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Arthur, and then we still don't know if Milner's going to stay or not. So even just to be where we are now, you need to buy 3 or 4, as you say, just to replace what's leaving in the summer. So obviously, Declan Rice would be great, but I don't see that we could afford him if we were going for the Bellingham. I think Mason Mount seems realistic. He's got a year left on his deal, hasn't he? So we could probably get him, and Chelsea have got far too many players, so they'll probably be happy to try and get a few off the wage bill.
The thing is, Pete, me and Frank were talking before, and Frank was totally right. It's not up to Jude Bellingham, it's up to Dortmund. And there's going to be a bidding war for that. It's going to be a crazy bidding war who wants him.
Yeah, it's going to be 170 million. It's going to be loads. So.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Manchester City are going to bid silly money. You know that. You know that. Liverpool, you know, if he was watching last night and he's looking there and he's looking at Real Madrid, because he's going to say to himself, there's a big rebuild here and I won't be able to sort it, not on my own. He might be thinking that. You just don't know. I'm going to bring in our lad from Seattle over there in America. He's a great dad. Loves going to the game, and there he is, Brian Fennell. Hey, Brian.
All right, Brian.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello. Oh, all right.
How are you, Brian?
I'm working on that. Doing okay, and you?
We was just saying there, Brian, before about. I'm saying things on here. Hang on a second. Sorry. We was just saying there, Brian, about last night, and I said to Pete and I said to Tommy, was you overly disappointed at the end of the game? And I'm going to ask the same question to you. Was you overly disappointed?
No, not really. It was expected. We all wanted the miracle to happen, but realistically, no. It wasn't. So not disappointed. Just relieved that we got out relatively intact. Sorry, the Badger is injured, but yeah, it was expected yesterday to exit Champions League.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about, and it was expected. It's as simple as that. And then we said, less than 12 months ago, we were in Paris. We were in a final, the Champions League final, and we were favourites to win it. Not only were we favourites to win it, we should have won it because we were the better side. And yet, less than 12 months later, we're playing the same team that we played in the final, and we were just overawed by them.
Yeah.
And we can't put the finger on.
Well, you can. You can put the finger on it. I mean, it's the lack of investment by the ownership.
Yeah.
And more song and dance and more gaslighting and whatever theatrics they want to play, whatever pantomime villainy they want to play in front of the fans. I mean, we saw it in the summertime. Okay, everyone knew. Well, I guess we knew. Tchouaméni, that was our target, and he chose Real Madrid. Then nothing. Looking for midfielders for 3 years, nothing. So there was nobody out there who could have filled the need for to reach.
Seems to be no contingency plan.
No. So
this is what it boils down to.
And that's what I'm talking about. They want Super Cup money, or Super Cup League, or Super League, whatever they call it. Then you need a Super League operation to go from Tchouaméni to nothing, and then the 11th hour, Mello on loan. A player's already injured, and say, okay, this is it. This is what we needed. We're going to go fight for the championship again. Really? Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but if we say no contingency plan, that's exactly what we were praised for with Alisson and Van Dijk, wasn't it? So, Klopp, it might, we say the owners, it might well have been Klopp saying, I want him or no one else. And, you don't know who it is. I'm not in any way putting abuse on Klopp. I'm 100% behind him. But I'm just saying, we don't know if it was the owner's fault or who it is making the decisions. We don't know how involved they are in signing the checks and who we are allowed to bring in. But I think, as you say, he didn't want to go and spend big money, so we got an experienced European midfielder in on loan. And, as you say, he did have an injury record. Maybe we should have expected it more, but we can't have expected he to played one substitute appearance by the time we got to March. We wouldn't have thought that'd be the case, surely. That's why we've took the chance. But, I know what you're saying. We should have maybe put more money in, but maybe then they look and go, well, next summer we'll go for Bellingham, as I said before. Then we don't let Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain go on a free, and we give Miller another year. That covers us for a season. And whether right or wrong, I think that's the decision that was made. And I don't think you can really blame the owners for that decision being made.
Well,
I'm
sure.
sorry,
Okay.
Pete. I'm sorry,
Go on,
Pete.
go on.
I would give Keita money to move. I would pay him to go.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I'm just saying I think that's the decision that was made. So I just think for owners to be blamed for that, I think that looks like a footballing decision made by Klopp, or whether it's recruitment team, whatever. I think that's what they thought, and it's easy to say now it looks bad, but I think we were 2 games from winning 4 trophies.
Well,
I think they thought that's enough of a squad to go and do nearly as good as that again this year, and we haven't been anywhere near it, and they've been proven wrong. But I think that's the decision that was made. When
I gotta jump in here. Okay, now I'm gonna sound like a scratcher because I've said this how many times in your show now, but no, I agree. We're just four supporters just having a good time, just chatting about this stuff. But we're not privy to the inner workings. Obviously, well, disclaimer out the door. What I will say is, sure, we don't know who said what to when, to whom, and what, but what I do know from watching sports and watching this, it all starts on the top of the organization. I mean, the attitude. Okay, yes, we were chasing 4 cups last year, and to come up short by 1 point, by one game. 1 point last season, and then runners up on Champions League after winning the other 2 cups. And then to say, okay, we're intact, nothing, even though we knew the midfield is aging for the last 3 years and so many years. And we've been talking about replacing or looking at other midfielders at this time. Again, we don't know what's going on, but to tell me there has been nothing with no possible contingents, even with the injuries, there's no one you can bring in to at least augment the midfield, at least rest some players so you can make that run. And you tell me there's no plan, there was nothing done, no consideration whatsoever, especially after chasing four cups. Then all of a sudden, okay, no, we're good with our midfield, even though they're aging, and it cost us the league last year, the midfield play, 10-man City, 10-man Chelsea, and the league was still and they were still dominated. I think also Brighton and Hove, Brighton dominated the midfield on a road game. So all those add up. And we knew at the midfield there were injuries. We carried Ox, we carried Keita, we carried some of the players, and and Henderson was tired. He's got bad feet, and he's still playing out there. God love him, captain, soldier on. But there is deficiency in midfield that needed addressing, and you're telling me that no one could have addressed it at all in the last couple of years, especially after costing us a couple of cups and titles. That's all I'm saying. That starts from the top of the organization.
I think you're spot on there because, as you know, and I said to Pete there before, and Tommy knows that I wanted a couple of midfielders 2 seasons ago because I knew that the likes of Thiago, he was getting older and older, and Milner, he was getting older and older, and now we have another pair of legs that was good. That's Henderson, but he's gone past it now. He really has, because he can't keep up the pace, and that's where our press starts from. Our press starts from the midfield, and nothing's happening, and that's why I think we fell apart. And it's a lack of investment, as you said, Brian, and that Tommy says it as well.
Oh yeah.
Tommy says
with me, it's FSG. For me, it's FSG. I mean, they say, oh, they've done this and they've done that. Really, they haven't done anything. Any players we bought, we've had to sell to buy. And that's what we are. We're a sell to buy club. Yeah. And for us to go and get Jude Bellingham next season, you mark my words, you've said it, Frank, Mo or Trent or the both of them could go.
I think someone said Alisson, it's a rumour, like someone's put a bid in for Alisson. Well, Paul Beck says Van Dijk and Alisson were bought because of the Coutinho money, not FSG putting money up. We sell to buy, so it's just answered your question there, Tom.
Yeah.
Or your comment there. And we are a sell to buy club, it's wrong in every sense. I gave an analogy once, and I said, if I was married and we split up and I decided to move out the house right? And she came up to me and said, listen, you better get, she's like remarried and everything else, living in with the house, and comes up to me and say, listen, I want a new roof. Well, I don't live there anymore, but I want a new roof. So she'll have me to pay for a new roof. And that's what this is just like the owners. They own the club, yet they won't put they're going on about the stand. We've paid for that stand, and we're paying for this one now. They lent us the money. And they lent us the money out of our own club. And if people can't see that, if they can't do any economics at all, they might as well give up.
Don't be shout that we've got no money. How much money, and this is just on the pitch, have we made in the last 5 years? Just on the pitch, never mind all the merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
On the pitch alone, how much money have we made? Multi-millions.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it gone? Don't say Gatco or Nunes, because we've had to sell to buy that. We sold Mane. As you say, we sold Coutinho. We have to sell to buy. And FSG, for me, they've made, they bought us for what, 300 million?
Mm-hmm.
And then how much is the club worth now? 4.5 billion. Do you reckon? 4.5 billion. So where does all that money go? Never mind the merchandise money. Oh, they say the wage bill and all like this. Yeah, every club's got a wage bill. But they've all got good players, Our players have been brilliant, and now you can see lack of investments. It's coming home to roost now.
Yeah.
Well, this is the frighteningest thing, and as I said, Brian, to the lads, we could be left behind, especially with the likes of Newcastle, the likes of Man City. Now, there's Man United. They're selling to the... Can you hear that?
Oh, yes, disagrees.
She frightens me now and again, watching the telly, sitting there, the big, watching the vampire thing or whatever.
Alexa, close your eyes. Yeah. No, not you, Siri. No, I'm not talking to you.
Close your eyes,
No, right.
But as I said, Brian, with our main rivals, buying, and there's Man United going to sell. They're going to have money. Everybody's got money, bar us, and we have to sell our best players to bring in the acquisitions that we need.
Yeah.
But you know what annoys me? You know what annoys me, Frank? And I hear it most days. We don't want Arab money. We don't want oil money. We do want it. Because we need it. We do need it. Somebody's going to come in and give them loads of money. That's what we want, like Man City have got, Newcastle have got. We need that money. FSG are not going to do it.
No.
Well, sorry, can I just come in with a couple of comments here?
Yeah.
Because there's one from Soulboy Fran and one from Michael Carter. And Frank Lawton, he'll be coming on the show after he finishes his play. He's doing a play. Anyway, Soulboy Fran says Klopp has been too loyal. He's got to be ruthless in the summer, right? And I'm going to show this other by Michael Carter. Can someone there tell me what LeBron James brings to the table?
I'll tell you what he takes away from us.
He brings the wealth dragon to tennis shoes and calls it the Liverpool
brilliant point. Yeah. What does he bring to the table of Liverpool Football Club?
No, but how much does he take out of it?
Power.
This is the problem. Now, here's a big one here. This is from...
Francis.
Yeah. Right. Can anyone read that there? I've got to make it. Great. I'm made up. Can you read it, Brian? Yeah, or anyone?
Yeah.
Read it out loud. I've got to make a phone call.
Okay.
No,
No,
go on, Brian.
I'll have to read
Right,
it
well,
out
you-
then. Can you read it, please?
I can do it, yeah, go on. I'm currently
go
on
on.
a 20-minute
Oh,
break
brilliant.
from
So just
rehearsals.
making a quick.
Yeah. He's on his 20-minute break, so is Francis. We
No,
didn't strengthen from a position of strength when we were winning trophies. FSG stuck with sell to buy and expected Klopp to keep on producing miracles. Time has now run out. It looks likely we won't achieve a top 4 place. No Champions League will put us back 10 years. Even if FSG made the money available in the summer, with no Champions League, we won't attract the top players. We've shot ourselves in the foot, and FSG are accountable. I don't know, and then it carries on. I can't expect, but yeah, he's
Spot on.
obviously blaming that.
I totally agree with that. Actually.
Spot on.
All good teams strengthen when they're strong. When they're strong, they strengthen it again. And we've never done that. And now it's coming home to roost now.
Oh,
Well, that's a
totally
strong
agree with
claim, isn't it? That's a very strong claim by Frank Lawton.
Yeah.
No Champions League will put us back 10 years. Think about that. Think about that. Because I'm not saying it'll be 10 years, you know. I just don't know. I hope it's not.
We nearly won the league in 2014, so that'll be all right.
Yeah.
We came second that season.
Well, how about this, boys? How about this? Say we get into the Europa League, you know, Champions League's finished. Say we get into the Europa League. Would it be a good blood and ground, if you know what I mean? Blood and competition to bring in the players that we need. You know, even Gakpo and Nunes, you know, getting them to how we really play and getting new players.
Yeah, but it's great.
who are going
To say the Europa League, but top players don't want to play in the Europa League.
So do you think then that'll be a good blood for our lads, the new lads, that is?
Well, when you look at it,
consolation prize, yeah.
in the Europa League, they just nearly got the Champions League. So they're good teams. But top players want to play in the Champions League.
Yeah, but it's not where we want to be long term, is it? I think we can all accept a year. 2 might be very bad, but at a very big push, maybe. But we can accept being in there for the year if we on there looking at it against what we've done the 5 years before our Klopp's been
there.
there.
That's if we recruit, though, Pete. That's if we recruit.
Yeah, well, it depends how we do. And if you say like Arsenal in Europa League this season, and they're doing all right in the league, aren't they? It's annoying because it's Thursday, Sundays, and it messes all the schedule up. And I will only have a day off on a Thursday, so that'll be annoying as well. But I think having that football schedule that way around, I think that's what gets annoying. As you say, you're playing Ruben Kazan away, and it's boring. But even when Klopp first came, he played like Jordan Ibe and lot of younger players in the squad, didn't he? But that's what we're saying here. Is it's giving young players a chance, and that's what he'll do. And you know, as you say, you get Bajcetic, maybe that Calvin Ramsey gets to go right back. Tsimikas plays more time, and we can see if they're good enough to play for the first team. And it also gives them a platform to sell them for more money as well. And it's definitely not a positive. I'd much rather be in the Champions League, but as you say, we can take positives that are coming in the Europa League. And if we don't win it, you know, it's the only one that Klopp hasn't won since he's been there. So why not add that trophy as well? We can win it. So.
Yeah.
Well, still the Goldilocks zone for the club. Yeah. I mean,
I remember. Go on, sorry, Brian.
No, I was just saying it's still the Goldilocks zone for this ownership. I mean, yeah, it's European football, not the desired one, but it's still revenue. It still sells merchandise, and they still sell the dream. Well, we're fighting our way back to Champions League, so their money making scheme or the long con still continues. We're still fighting for European football. If they don't make it, hey, we're still back in Europa League, but we're 1 or 2 players away. Could Ben Doak be the guy? Could this person be the guy? So again, it's rinse and repeat. So. And what you were saying earlier, I think this club they really, I mean, we did well when we bought. I think who was it? Michael Carter with that, or we did well when we bought Allison and Virgil. Sure, we're on the rise then, but since then we've won the cup, well, both cups, European, and we won the league. So it's a different game. defending versus fighting for the cup, and people look at you differently. So yeah, so we have to spend in order to maintain that to keep that continuity. But
yeah, well, it's to keep the momentum going, isn't it? Really, and this is where we're missing out, unfortunately. This season, I'm talking about this season, and look at us. To us now, we're rock bottom. Yet to other teams, we've done well. And I'm, to other fans, that is, below us. Liverpool, they're a great side. They'll come back, and even pundits are saying they'll come back, but they've got to buy the right players. Michael Carter says people go on about human rights, about Arabs, but I come back. I can name 3 American presidents who between them have killed 11 million people in the Middle East. And think about that. Well, this is the big argument. This is how it's split the whole. I'm not just saying this, the whole of the Liverpool fan base. I really, it does really split the whole of the fan base. Whether you like it or not, it does split it, and there are arguments about who potential owners should be. But I'll give you my take on the owners, and I'll give you it now. When it came out that they were selling in November, and if you think about it, just think about it. November, they came out and said, we're selling. Now, they heard a lot of rumblings going on by the fans saying, I hope Jurgen buys in the January window. We need so many players. We really need midfielders. Not one or two, we really need them. And they went on about Melo as well. What's the use of him, an injury-prone player? And I think they've spun it. I really think that they spun it and said, all right, leak out that we're selling. So fans wouldn't say, well, they're not going to buy anyway because they're selling. Why should they buy in the January? And then all of a sudden, when the January window shut, what did they come up with? Oh, we're not selling. We want investments instead. That's my take. That's my take.
I wouldn't say you were wrong there, no.
Well, all right. Let's see Michael Carter again, and he goes on about the SOS and Reds were all for DIC 10 years ago. Absolutely, they were. I was made up as well. 10 years later, they don't want Arabs. Wonder why SOS don't want Arab money. Yeah. See, it's human rights. Someone brought out about human rights. And, like Qatari, for example, the Qataris and what happens in the World Cup or before the World Cup with the building of the stadiums and whatever. And people were unfortunately killed. They started to call it slave labor. Yet these same people who were going on about human rights were there doing pundit work.
Yeah.
Making money. Do you understand? So this is the way I look at it. You might think I'm cynical. And maybe I am cynical. I don't know. But that's the way it is. That's the way they've got fans now arguing with each other. So diverse. Let's see what
the way I look at it is this. What goes on in the world, we can't do nothing about. But we hope what happens in our club, we can.
Yeah.
And if Arab's going to bring money in, bring it in.
Yeah.
I've got no qualms with Arab money coming into our club.
Well, okay. See, these are good. These are very good points, and these are diehard Reds, by the way, who are commenting. And Charlie Cairns, and I want your take on this. Charlie Cairns says 2 full-backs, 2 centre-halves. Van Dijk's finished since the injury at Everton, and 3 midfielders.
Yeah.
What would you like to say about that?
Yeah,
Let's be,
that would be lovely. That would be lovely if you could do that.
Well, it's
no,
just you may
let
as well
me
say.
let me say so.
No, well, you might. Well, that's what you're going on there. You might as well buy 11 players, and you can buy people in every position. We don't. Our fullbacks are fine. I think Robbo and Trent. You don't need to replace them. As I was saying before, Trent didn't have a good night against Vinicius. It is a bit of a worry how much teams target him, but I think that's maybe more. The Klopp's got to give him more protection. I think we are there. You can't expect Salah. Well, you should expect Salah, but Salah doesn't track back and double up and help him with the winger. That just doesn't happen. Salah's our goal scoring threat. He tries to put Henderson on there, and for a variety of reasons, we say age, injuries, whatever, he hasn't been there as much to help him. It's been probably more Harvey Elliott than anyone else in front of him, and he's a kid who's definitely he's a bit lightweight, isn't he? Let's say, and he's not going to be able to help him. He doesn't seem to get the help from the centre back, and when they come over, it's hardest. But I'd still have Trent and Robbo. Centre back, I don't think you can say Van Dijk finished. He just got named in the FIFA best team in the world. So if he's finished, then that's a bit of a joke. And he was the only centre back in that team, by the way, as well. He was next to two full-backs. Kanate, he's still young, 22, 23. I'm definitely happy with him. I still like Joel Matip. Obviously, it's saying he might go in the summer, and I wouldn't mind him being there another year. We were saying before, get another centre back, someone to challenge Kanate and maybe take Van Dijk's place in 3-4 years. That's fine. But I wouldn't say we need all those defenders he's wanting to buy there. And then midfielders, as we said before, I think you do need 3, but only because we're losing today. We're losing, as I said before, again, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita, and Arthur are all going. So at the bare minimum, you need to replace them going. And then if we want the quality to come in, then maybe you say get another one in if you think Elliott and Bajcetic are enough to cover that gap. But I'd say, 2-3 midfielders, maybe one centre-back. But we haven't got an endless pot of money either, as we're saying, for whatever your thoughts are on FSG and whether we get investment or not. We haven't got billions to spend. We've probably got 150, 200 mil. And if we get a Bellingham, that's the majority of that transfer fee gone. So it's going to be signing, as you said before, Premier League quality players, hopefully for 20, 30 mil a piece, getting 2 of those midfielders in and then trying to get a decent centre-back from somewhere around the world. I think that's what we'll go for, I think. But whether you agree, I don't know. But that's what I think we'll do.
I agree with you. I'm just,
Well, who would you like to see as midfielders coming in, Pete?
Well, I think Bellingham's the dream one, and he's 19, and I think if he is 150 mil and we have him for 10 years, it's 15 mil a season, and he gets to 29. He's the captain of the club, and he's one of the best players we've had. It's worth it. So I'd go and pay that money if we've got it and if we can. And then, as you said before, I wouldn't be against Mason Mount. He's someone proven in the Premier League. We'll get him on a semi-cheap deal, and then it just depends. I don't know how big the transfer fund is. Like that Alexis McAllister, I like from Brighton. I think people are looking at his stats. I think he's like very similar to Ginny Wijnaldum in terms of numbers, and that way he doesn't look like that type of player, but like winning the ball back, energy in the middle, and he's obviously got a bit of a creative spark as well. So I wouldn't mind him coming in, but I don't know how much he's going to cost and how much we can afford. And then centre backs, it's hard. I'm that Gvardiol, isn't it? His name is, I think, from Leipzig. Yeah. Link with him, but I don't know. Like, I trust whoever Klopp thinks for them, but like I wouldn't. If we get Bellingham, Mount, and another midfielder who I haven't heard of, like I didn't have the biggest knowledge on Gakpo and Nunes before they came, and I'm happy with those signings. Someone along that line, they've 21, 22, 23 coming in and can make a difference now, but he's more for the next few years, then that's a good signing to make. He'd hope Bellingham and Mount can make an immediate impact if we were going to do that.
I'd love that. Okay. I'd love that.
Would you go along with that, Brian?
I would, yeah. I think first and foremost, Bellingham. They have to buy him. They have to get him. After the last few years, I'd say, Bellingham, and then if we have to sell to buy to get the other players, and that's probably what's going to happen. They'll say, Mason Mount's a good one. I would probably lean towards Amrabat. Again, that's my bias because he's defensive mid and he plays some center back. So that's 2 birds, 1 stone. He can fill in a pinch. The other was it the fullbacks you think you were talking about earlier, or we just sticking with midfield right now?
Yeah. No, I think that our defense is okay. Our defense is fine.
Yeah.
So the contrary of what's happening.
I still get all this bashing of Trent. I mean, Trent has been Trent since he's been here. We don't play him because he's a great defensive right back. we play him for the 26 assists.
Yes.
And all those people are surprised that Vinicius Jr. took him to the cleaners. Well, Vinicius Jr. does that. And some other players have done that to him. So, I mean, to be surprised now is just, it's a head scratcher. He's an average defender, but a phenomenal offensive player. So, yeah, you want to move him, again, find a dead ball specialist, give me 26 assists, and then good luck, Godspeed. But until then, it's not even discussion.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on, because our defence, as Pete says, that's sound. That's sound. That's a great defence, that, by the way. Great defence.
Yeah.
Then you've got the forward line. And we've got the forwards there to frighten anybody. It's just the midfield that should have the legs. New midfielders should have the legs to protect the back four and to feed the forwards. And that's play the high press, but they're not there. And so everything is being exposed, especially the back four and especially the forwards. That's why they're not running on all, cylinders. And it's just shocking, and that's the way it's gone. That's why we were screaming out for the midfielders in the summer and in January. And we got none. We got it after. I said I watched Serie A. You know that, Brian. You know that, Tommy. And when he said about Artemelo, I said he hasn't played for Juve for 6 months because of his injury problems. And we get him, and look what happens. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And that's what we end up with. All right, let's have another comment here. Michael Carr said, I actually had a friend saying to me, Milner was man of the match. Don't know if he was smoking a crack.
He had a good first half, give him that.
Brian,
who was our man of the match then? I thought Milner played quite well. I'm guessing he meant for us, not for the game, but who was better than Milner?
I think Alisson.
Yeah.
Without a shadow.
Yeah, but I don't think, spoken of crack pipes a bit harsh. I think Milner played quite well, and as you say, 37.
I thought he had a great first half. Yeah. He was very good in the first half, but he hasn't got the legs to keep that going.
Yeah. But I don't think he played badly.
Boys, doesn't it prove something that a 37-year-old can be, and he's let's be honest, he's not a midfielder anymore. He's a right back or he's a left back. If you know what I mean. And yet he was the outstanding player in midfield.
It says a lot. It says a lot that he was in our middle and he was holding it together. A 37-year-old guy. It does say a lot to us.
Yeah, but we did also have Henderson out, Pacetic out, Thiago out. So we didn't have like that. He could easily have played another midfield, on another day. And I think so. Having the 2-man midfield was always going to be a massive ask, and having out of form Fabinho and age Milner was going to be an even bigger ask in there. But yeah, I don't think they were terrible. But as you say, the game was dominated by the other 30-odd-year-old midfielders, so it doesn't matter how old you are, does it? How good you are. And if we had Modric and Kroos, we probably would have won the game, I reckon. But
totally agree with you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think if we had Steven Gerrard, we would have won the game. Xabi Alonso. Brian Everly says this is about Trent. He can't defend even in his own box. Just lets players go past him with ease. Nothing to do with protection, this. No awareness whatsoever. No excuse. And that's about Trent.
As Brian said, though, we know that, though, don't we? We're that's not a surprise. And he said you can't say it's not about protection, but we know Vinicius is probably their best player, and one of our weakest defensive players is Trent. You've got I think it is about protection. We're asking a lot from Milner and Fabinho to play in a 2-man midfield and then also cover the fullbacks. We can't expect Salah to be pushing back when we've got 4 men up front because we're trying to score 3 goals away from home at the Bernabeu. So there was ever a time we're going to leave him a bit exposed. It was last night, I think. in the first leg, we should have gone more on them. I think Fabinho got booked in that first half, but the amount of times that Vinicius got the ball, like someone had to go, like a Milner should have gone through in the first leg and let him know you're not going to keep running the Trent every 5 minutes. You know, you're going to get kicked. I think he scored that goal because he had so much time, didn't he, at the top end? Yeah. Just stood there, picked his place. It was a great finish, but I think we know what the danger was. I think it is about protection, and we should have protected Trent more. But last night we couldn't because we had to go and score 3.
Well, can you imagine if Graham Souness would have been on that pitch? That lad wouldn't have. He wouldn't have lasted the first half.
But then again, you know, well, Brian Headley says, you know, we were talking, who's the man of the match, you know, between us. So we said Alisson. Michael Carter says Alisson, funny enough. Brian Headley says Robbo. You know, was Robbo's man of the match. And Michael Carter says, I think it's a good point, actually. Trent plays at the top of his game for the last 4 years. The lad needs a rest. His numbers for assists is out of this world. How right he is. And people are having a go at him. And that's the self-indictment about some of our fans, because there's, as I mentioned before, there's Mo Salah, our leading goal scorer for years. And they're all saying sell him because he missed a penalty last week. And, you know, it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Isn't it?
And I go along with what Brian says at the very beginning about mental fatigue. Mental fatigue, you know, set in because we were, what's a club called? Monster mentality. But that seems to have deserted us at the moment.
But I think Carragher said as well, didn't he, about Trent last night? He said, you know, if you're playing in a team like we have been the last few years, you're battling teams and you've got all the ball. Trent looks like the best right back in the world. But when we're not playing as well, and, you know, if you blame the midfield for not being as good, whatever the reason is, when you're not playing as well, the other team's getting more chances. He looks worse defensively. So does Van Dijk, so does Kanate, so does Robbo, so does Alisson. Because when the other team has more chances, they're going to score more goals, aren't they? So you say, once we're flying, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You again, this goes back to the thin squads and lack of investment in depth or quality depth. The last 5 years, the club's average, 62 games a season. You look at out of all the cup matches, out of all those, that's how many seasons condensed into the last 5. So, and we don't have a right back. We don't have adequate depth or Trent. So Trent's playing. Gomez has played a few. Milner's played a few, but it's been Trent. Salah's played on the right-hand side because who else can play on the right-hand side? I mean, look at what the core 13, 14, 15 players, how many games they've played over the last 5 years. Yeah. Mental fatigue and injuries. It's gonna add up. And that's
what I said before. No team could keep that up. No team in the world could keep that momentum up.
Yeah. Which is why it's hypercritical for whatever's going on in the organization. If there's a need for a player, go get him. Either through the academy or you're going to the market. Just go get it done.
Man City have 2 squads, don't they? That's how they do it. They've got 2 players in every position. We haven't financially, whatever the reason is, but that's why they can keep going for the last 5-6 years, and no team can. City have always been up in the mix, haven't they? Because they have got abundance of money, and like Chelsea now have got a stupidly big squad. I know they're not even doing that well, but you know what I mean? It's that we haven't got the huge strength and depth, but we've gone off having a good 11. But as you say, when you play that same 11 for 6 years, they're going to start getting tired, aren't they?
This is what
because they strengthened when they were strong. They strengthened when they were strong.
Yes,
we didn't.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, but let's look at the other clubs. Okay, like the Ajax's money. Okay, the Rennes in France, Benfica, Porto. They don't go and spend a bloody fortune every year because they develop it in house. So if this club doesn't want to spend in the market, then put money in the academy, go scout and develop, go find these players. Because I mean, these other clubs don't have
diamonds out there.
Sorry, what?
There are diamonds out there somewhere.
Oh yeah, there are diamonds out there. But yeah, we can't seem to find them. Unless they're either someone coming from the lower-
Elliott,
Okay,
Doak.
yeah.
They're going to be
Okay, well,
led in
how
it, but
many
like,
players?
and Trent,
Yeah.
Trent came
Okay.
through.
Here's
Bajcetic,
what-
and then I say Harvey Elliott, and then Ben Doak will open could be the next one.
Look, he wasn't one of ours. We bought him and brought him in.
No, I know, yeah, but we bought them as 16-year-olds.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That's a difference. And a lot of the Portuguese players are the ones coming from South America as well, aren't they? Which is then they go get sold on for a lot of money. But I know what you're saying. The academy needs to be better, and you need to invest more than that. But
invest in the academy or buy one of those two. And I'm just sick. I mean, I'm livid today, beside myself. My fault, going on social media and reading some of these comments about the sunshine pumpers. Like, well, it's unlucky. Anyway. There's only two choices. Just pick one and do one, and stop this sort of this little half-ass approach to. Well, we'll buy a player or two here. I got a loan for a player. Then we'll get some 16-year-old, and we'll sort of hodgepodge it, and produce a top 4 finishing club. That's club sorcery. And I'm sick of it. Just come with make a decision, make a policy, and then stick with it.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Edley says, lads, this right back nonsense has been there from 2018. We still shouldn't be talking about this. Almost 6 years, and he's right.
Mm-hmm.
He's right. And this from Soulboy Fran. Our midfield is crying out for pace and energy. It's far too slow at the moment. And this is what we do. It's the midfield we're talking about constantly. Yeah. And it's never been addressed. In 4 years, we brought in one player. That was Thiago. And the low knee, you can't say about Melo. You cannot say, well, we brought in two. Someone did it to me one day and said, well, what about Melo? So what about him? Where is he? Where is he? Where is the lad? Is he down at the Royal? Having his leg done? I don't know where he is. Can you tell me? So this is what's going on all the time, unfortunately. And so much fans, it is on the nail. Our midfield is crying out for pace. And this is what we mentioned before. Pace, the legs, and energy. It's far too slow at the moment. And it is. And it's a shame because Fabinho, I thought Fabinho was a cracking player. And you know that, he's been great for us. But I seen him last night and he had the ball. First half, he had the ball. And he tried to beat like 3 players. And he never had the pace to go past them. And the ball was just taken off him.
I think what Pieces just said, though. He hit the nail on the head. When we were brilliant, we all looked great. But now we're coming back and we all look shite.
Well, that's a nice one, yeah. That's,
yeah. Thanks. I don't think I said it like that. But...
No, you didn't say it like that, Pete.
No, I missed.
I
forgot where it was, though.
Well, Brian Edley says, correct, Tommy, the night we lifted the first league in 30 years, we should have been signing.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Didn't we get Thiago, Jota and Tsimikas that summer? I'm playing devil's advocate a bit, I know, but that was the summer that we did get a midfielder. So, we're saying there, we signed one of the best
we haven't had one since.
No, I know, but he's saying there, that's when we should have done it, and that is when we did do it. But to be fair, we won the league and we signed a European Cup winning midfielder who many might say is still our best midfielder at the club. So I think we did strengthen, and we got Jota, who helped out, and we got covered at left back. So I think that was 1 year that we did. We didn't spend a lot of money, but we did invest in some decent players. I think that summer.
Yeah,
I think I think you're right as well. Simply because Jota was phenomenal, wasn't he, when he first came?
Yes.
Scoring, he was scoring nearly every week, and he was absolutely brilliant. But tell me, when was the last time he scored?
It was last season, and I know he hasn't scored this season.
Last November.
A year ago.
Mad. Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? It's just absolutely crazy. But mind you,
But the thing is, like, that's gone right through the team. I mean, that's the whole team.
Well, he just scored against Bournemouth as well. He had a bit of handball in the way of it as well, so it would have been a week.
Well, Michael Carter says, my friends in Belfast, there's a son playing for Cliftonville. He's 17, tipping the Irish League up. Sean Moore can play left back, right back, midfield, and up front. Why are Liverpool not looking at him?
Yeah, he wants a scouting job.
Yeah, is he injured?
Yeah.
How many injuries?
Yeah, we only signed him if he's got a bad hip.
Tell him tear an Achilles, and then we'll see. Then come back. No, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a good one, lads. There's a good one. Brian Edley again. If we had to sell one of the lads, who would you pick? Thiago or Fabinho?
Fabinho.
Yeah. You're not going to get any money for Thiago either. I think it's the thing. But
I'll say Fabinho. Yeah.
If we have to, I'm not saying we should.
Yeah, if we have to.
No,
Frank's going to say Thiago now. Go on.
Well, I was mulling over because, wait, Thiago also plays defensive mid. He can. Yeah, okay. Fabinho goes. All right.
Well, I'm not answering that because I asked the question.
Go on, answer it.
No, Frank, come on. No.
Question for Brian. I'm not having
Card played. No.
I'm being honest here. I think
Diego.
Fabinho will come good again. I really do next season.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's past it. I'm saying if we get asked to here, because Thiago's older, you're going to get a lot less money for him as well. Fabinho, you get money. He's not playing great at the moment, so if you have to, I wouldn't sell either.
Yeah.
I think Fabinho will come back. Yeah.
Exactly. No, we need this year.
I like that. How about this saying that, who to sell or who to buy or whatever? So, who would you sell if we had to sell a forward? And who would we get the most for?
I'd sell Jota.
It was, yeah. Seeing he hasn't scored in a year, it does make sense. I'd say Jota as well. Yeah.
I wouldn't sell Diaz, Nunes, or Mo.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Jota.
Isn't there a rumour about Diaz though? Going.
Yeah, but this Barca, I think. Well, that's it.
There's a rumour that Mo's going to PSG. I mean, you can listen to them all day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But we're still
like the 20 midfielders we were linked with, and we never got one. You can listen to them all day. 20 midfielders we were linked with, absolutely.
Tielemans, Kessie, Zielinski. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we got a fella with a fractured hip.
Yeah. And there's, Charlie Wood says, still missing Genie.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. Never replaced him, mate. Never replaced him.
That was a big mistake, in my opinion. Letting him just go. Letting him go.
It was a standoff, one of them. We held our ground financially, but then, as you say, if you let him go, you've got to bring someone else in, and we didn't, did we? So it was.
That's the point.
We never do.
A big risk, yeah.
They never do.
But the thing was, he wasn't asking for the king's ransom, was he?
No, it's probably a lot less than what Salah's on, isn't it? So.
Exactly.
You won how many cups, and you were reaching 30? Yeah, you say, pay me what I'm worth. Yeah.
So that again, Brian.
Prove here. So yeah, you go get paid. Yeah.
But did he not go and then worst team of the year for PSG, and he's been out injured all this year? So if we'd have been there, everyone would have said, "Oh, we should have cashed in on him," or "Why did we give him a new contract?" Or like if he'd had exactly the same for us, it's easy to say because of how good he was, but he would be 2 years older than he was when he left. So we don't know if he'd have been worth it. But I think the issue was, as you said, not replacing him more than. What
you've just said there, please. You look at each player what's left Liverpool, going back to Torres, Suarez. Yep. Now, when they left us, they were brilliant, top of the game. What did they ever do when they leave us? Never seen Torres go down the neck in my life as quick as what he did at Chelsea.
Yeah, it was mad, though, wasn't it?
It's
It's one
same
did
as
all right, to be
Coutinho.
fair. But
Same as Coutinho. Coutinho was awful for Barca.
Yep.
The only player to make it really was Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
that
I've
shows
got
how
a
good he was,
question.
wasn't it?
I've got a
Happy
question for
Alonso
you.
won
here.
two European Cups,
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
or 3.
yeah. I've got a question for you, Peter.
Okay.
Just honestly, I've been picking my head for this since I've been looking at you. And there it is. Peter, I'm picking my head here. Is that sweater you're wearing 96 or
Yeah,
98?
I don't know. I was only 2 or 4, so it was whatever I can't remember what I bought it off. It's the
Thanks
Echo
for
one.
that,
I don't know what year that is. Sorry, yeah. It's definitely not what I was wearing in 96 or 98.
When you were born, when you were getting baptized. Yeah.
That was it, yeah. Me dress.
Made us feel really old now, Pete. Thank you.
Sorry.
Hey, Peter, tell us about the book you've written.
Yeah, okay. It's there, well placed. Yeah, so it's
Can you put
crossing
it
the
up and
path.
show us?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
put it up?
Well, that's the one.
Ah,
So
yes. Okay.
Every player who's played for both Liverpool and Everton, basically, is what it's about. So you might enjoy that, you might not. But basically, it's just looking for the history of the club. So Liverpool's first ever game, they have 3 players who have played for Everton in the squad, and then obviously up to today we've got Connor Cody. So it literally goes from day one to the present day of Liverpool and Everton. And basically, I'm looking at each player, trying to tell their story, and there's a lot of interesting ones. Probably a lot of players that people don't know, and then by doing that, look at how the rivalries change, because obviously today, there's a lot of Everton bashing and vice versa from both fan bases. But I'm sure you'll all know that wasn't always the case. It was a lot more friendly mannered, and I just wanted to investigate when it changed, why it changed, but doing it through those people who have played for both teams, and just seeing how they're remembered, who likes them more, why they like them more, who had the better careers and stuff like that. And obviously, I was lucky enough to have Rafa Benitez do the forward, and so I look at him, and it's W.E. Barkley, who was the other person who's managed both clubs, and that was in the 1800s. So, yeah, it's basically just a full account of Merseyside football history, basically from the start of Liverpool up to today.
Frank had that jumper on in 1880.
Do you know what? You're talking about players playing for both clubs. I had to go up through education. That is, I had to go up to Goodison. They were not Everton recruiting, but it was an open day, for education. And I had to go up there. They said, will you go up there? And I said, yeah, okay. Anyway, I was, talking to the people who wanted to go into education. Anyway, Davy Hickson was there. I went over to him. I said, all right, Davy. And he looked at me and he said, hello. And he still had his quip. So anyway, I was chatting to him. And I went like that to him. I said, do you know what? I said, you played for Tranmere and you played for us, I like Liverpool. He said, yeah. He said, who's us, by the way? I said, Liverpool. And he went, walked away. Walked away. Like you quit, mate.
Absolute gentleman. Absolute gentleman.
Yeah, well, he was. I think from doing the book, he was like the first one where there was real outrage, which I think shows how good he was. You're only upset when the good players go, aren't you? So I think that was telling of how loved he was by the Everton fans.
And he's a lovely gentleman. He's a nice person too.
Yeah,
I'll tell you the controversy in my own family. By the way, there was a couple of Evertonians, but there was more Liverpoolians, right, in my family. And it was Johnny Morrissey. I remember them arguing over Johnny Morrissey. And obviously, you must have him in there, Peter.
Yeah, well, my last book was about Billy Liddell, and I was lucky enough to speak to him then, and he basically covered everything I needed him to cover, so I could use his interview. So it was stuff I never used in the last book, but he spoke about how he didn't really want to leave Liverpool, and obviously Bill Shankly nearly handed in his resignation because he went above his head and sold him to Everton. But yeah, it was speaking to him. Obviously, he he's another one, you know, as you say then, they're so attached to one club. It's crazy to think that not only have they played somewhere else, but they play for the biggest rivals, you know, loads of them, you know, like I've got Kevin Sheedy and Steve McMahon are coming to the book launch for me, and they're both players that you don't associate with the opposite club of who they used to play for as well, which is, I just think there's a lot of interesting ones like that who are just so one-sided on like which fan base loves them more, but obviously they've got a foot in both camps. Which
off the top of your head, please. Off the top of your head. Off the top of your head. How many players play for both clubs?
34. 34 was true. Yeah. I can give you a list if you want, but obviously you won't know the early ones. But if I go from like modern day, you got like Connor Cody, Santa Vesterveld, Abel Xavier, Nick Barmby, Don Hutchison, David Burrows, Gary Ablett, Peter Beardsley, Steve McMahon, Kevin Sheedy, David Johnson, Johnny Morrissey, Dave Hickson, Tony McNamara, Jimmy Payne, and that goes up to the Second World War. And then there's quite a few before that as well, and maybe less household names. But I thought it's more people than you think. I don't think you can list them all. I don't think anyone, if I went up to the street, offered them 100 quid, they'd be able to say all 34, because some of them are people who played like once or twice at both clubs in the 1800s, so you wouldn't know. But I still think, you know, it is quite a relatively low number for 130 years of history. And when you consider that they're both top division clubs and you don't have to take your kids out of school, you don't have to move house, you think there'd be a lot more, the players would be a lot more keen on the idea of moving. Like, think of Oxlade-Chamberlain going this summer. You could see him playing for an Everton side. He'd fit in well quality-wise and he wouldn't have to move house. You know, why aren't more people doing that? So I just thought that was another interesting thing. For 130 years, there's only 30 odd people who have done it.
Didn't Raul Morales play for them?
No, he didn't go to Everton. No, he went to Chelsea for most of the year. No.
That's Chelsea, not Everton.
Yeah.
Oops.
That's all right.
And Connor Cody is the latest, That's incredible, isn't it? Really?
It's called Crossing the Park because I'm putting a bet on he's going to be the last one, because they're going to town, aren't they, through this? And it's not as good of a title if it's getting the bus and 2 changes and then onto Bramley Moor Dock. It doesn't work as well as Crossing the Park. So hopefully he's a good bookend for it, because, you know, Scouser and a big Liverpool fan obviously as a kid, and can
you get that on Amazon, Pete?
Yeah, yes, it's on Amazon, WH Smith, Waterstones, all that. It's on my website as well. And just go on.
What is your website?
It's a Wix site. It's not worth it. Just go on my Twitter. If you just type your name in, it comes up. Just put Peter Kenny Jones, it comes up. But it's like peterkj.wixsite.com/. So it's too long. But yeah, if you just go on my Twitter, I've got like a link tree there, which basically got all the links to everything. But so if you just type in Crossing the Park, Peter Kenny Jones, anything like that, it's Amazon and all that type of stuff. And as I say, I've got that book launch, which is raising money for fan support and food banks, which obviously they do stuff for both clubs. So it seemed like a good one. And if you want to grab a copy, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely get a copy of that. Yeah.
Nice one. Thank you.
Yeah, Michael Carter says Milner's been linked to Madrid to replace Luka Modric.
Do a swap deal.
Swap.
That's
unbelievable. Incredible. Yeah, let's
love it, man.
Some of our highest earners never play, and we all know who that is. Well, it is the likes of maybe Keita, isn't it?
I shiver when you mention his name. Shouldn't mention his name, leave him.
Plenty of Steve McMahon in a piece. So he's
he definitely gets a good mention. Yeah, I say there's the famous story of him getting his car assaulted by Everton fans when he came back and when he was playing for Villa and all that. So there's a good few good stories from him in there as well. And as I say, he's at the book launch as well. So yeah, it'd be good to hear him, because as I say, it's interesting to hear him speak about Everton and Kevin Sheedy talk about Liverpool. I think just obviously I'm not trying to but I just think you don't think of those players doing it. So I think those stories, that's what made me as interested in it as well, just to get them off the players who you don't expect them to be playing for another team.
Yeah,
Well, I know his family.
definitely a good read.
I know his family actually, Stevie Max, and they're all diehard Blues, and so was Stevie.
Yeah.
Diehard
That's it.
Blues.
Yeah, it's mad. Well, it's like David Johnson as well. Obviously, he was a massive Red, and Shankly was his hero, and then he's playing for Everton, and it's just crazy. I think and Carragher as well. There's a chapter on if he supported the other club and Peter Reid and all that. You know, it's just mad for them. It's more of a job, and obviously it still means a lot to them. But as I say, you think more people would do it because you can stay in your city and you can stay with your family even if you are even if they do all hate you after a decision you make.
Can I just ask you a question? Has anybody ever gone from Liverpool to United or United to Liverpool?
Yeah,
Phil Chisnell, yeah. He's the last one. Yeah, it's the 16 years last one. Yeah. Was that Gabriel Hines who won it? They went. We met the buyout clause. They took us to court. Well, we took them to court because we met the buyout clause and they wouldn't sell them to us basically, and that all kicked off, didn't it? But yeah, that'll be a lot shorter book. There's a lot less of them.
Yeah.
Maybe picture one next time.
Wish we had Steve McMahon now, says Soulboy Frank.
Yep.
Brian Edley says, I'll get one, mate. That's your book there.
Nice one, thanks. That's where I've come on now.
It's either that or you sweat.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Pig, you showed 5 already, so you're all right.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so it's worth an hour and a half for that.
Okay.
So listen, lads, do you think we've got how many days? 17 days to get back, into the league, because unfortunately Fulham's in the FA Cup, aren't they, this week? We should have been playing them at home, which would have been, I think, a great opportunity for us to bounce back after last night.
I think these next 3 games will tell us what we're going to end up at in the season.
Well, my question is, before you start talking, my question is, it's not a question, it's a comment really. Is this 17 days going to do us good, or is it going to do us harm?
Good question.
I
think historically, under Klopp, you'd say harm, because we seem to be better when we are flowing out. We've had breaks before, and we thought, this is what we need, and then we come back and we look flat, don't we? So, yeah, your brain says that it should be good, but maybe from the history of watching us under Klopp, maybe it could be bad, but it hasn't exactly been great this season anyway, has it? So, but it's probably going to be similar to what we were anyway.
What do you think, Brian? Is it going to be good or bad?
I wish you had an opinion on that. I don't know. It'd be just I don't know. I like I like what Pete said. Yes, it could be. Yeah, it could be bad, but
just yes and no.
I just nothing. I don't have anything passionate to say about it. Just no. Okay, it could be. I mean, let's look. We're in 6th place, hoping Arsenal wins Europa so we can get to Champions League. I mean,
well, it's Luis Diaz thing, isn't it, really? Because he's back in training. So maybe if you give him 16 days of coming back into it, maybe that could be the difference for him, that they're on the training ground every day and they can properly get his recovery sorted. Hope maybe that's the one positive we can get. That's me clutching at some straws.
And the good thing about him, he's an impact player.
Yeah,
bring him on anytime. He's an impact player.
Yeah,
he changes the game.
But I'll say it again, though. He plays a lot like Darwin Nunez. His style is a lot lines up left and slashes across the goal. So we'll see how they play well together.
No, but that's what I say. You can start Nunez.
Yeah.
And then bring Diaz on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly coming back from injury, and that's the problems you want, isn't it? That's the strength and depth things that we want to be worried about. We don't want to. I'd rather have too many players in the same position than not enough at the moment.
Fair point. No, fair point.
Well, when the World Cup was on, and the lads went over to Dubai, I thought this break is going to do us great. I really did. and we came back, and what did we do? We beat Sheffield. Shit, where's my team?
Sheffield.
We beat Aston Villa. Sheffield bench. Sheffield. I'm unpacking the time machine. Stevie Gerrard making his debut against them. Oh, blood. No, but we beat Aston Villa, didn't we? And I thought like it was a great win. That I said at the time, that's a great win. That.
Yeah, we played really well, didn't we? Yeah.
And then nothing. Then we beat
Jekyll and Hyde, aren't we?
Yeah.
But a Jekyll and Hyde.
Yep,
we are a Jekyll and Hyde. We
are good in the big games, though. So those next 3 ones, hopefully, might define in a good way. Maybe we need to play United every week.
Do you know what I said? For not to play United every week, but I said that we raise our games.
Yeah,
we raise our game against the main rivals. We always do. I was talking to Francine yesterday, and I said to her, we raise our games against these sides, but we can't. We just fall to bits against the lower sides for some reason. The games that we should be winning, not even drawing, but winning, and we're getting beat. Or Crystal Palace, a bad draw that was, and one of the worst games we've ever played was against Wolves.
Awful.
It was awful. And then we played Bournemouth and got beat by them.
But these teams have improved. These teams have improved, Frank. Where we've dropped down.
No, Bournemouth haven't. Well,
it doesn't take much to beat us, does it?
Well, they're 10 goals better than they were last time we played them, weren't they? So they improved a bit. But yeah.
Well, Michael Carter says, a question for the lads. This book Pep wrote, High Intensity, do you think that was the right to bring that out the beginning of the season?
Not for 1 minute. Not for 1 minute.
Well, it's easy to say, I think, afterwards, but, Henderson brought a book out and Robbo did as well, and there hasn't been anything said about them doing it. I think, obviously, maybe it gives secrets away. He said it was just a diary of what happened, and it doesn't give anything away. But, I don't think it's to blame, but as you say, if it was a wise decision.
No, not blaming it.
Yeah, but as you say, if it's a good decision, probably not. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need to be spreading the stuff, does he? So maybe in 10 years' time, it would have been a good one, but.
It's just bad timing for me, like.
Yeah. But if we'd have won all 4 again this year or whatever, no one would have even mentioned the book, would they? So I don't think it has anything to do with what actually happened. But yeah, it's on hindsight. Yeah. Well, we all love Klopp, don't we? And everyone went on Pep Linders' back. So I think we're in a weird position where we're all a bit frustrated, but we love most of the players and the manager we've got. So we're trying to find who we can vent anger on, and sometimes it goes on.
Yeah, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm like you, Pete. I'm like Brian. I'm like Frank. I wouldn't want another manager to be in charge of our team. But sometimes you have to take criticism.
Yeah, no, that exactly. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you have to take criticism.
Well, what do you think of his substitutions?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have took Núñez off when he did.
No.
True.
But we didn't have much other tackle options, though, did we really? After obviously you bring Firmino on, but we already had 4 strikers, so you're gonna have to take someone off. But then, it was hard to know what to do with a 2-man midfield, and we only had Harvey Elliott, Oxlade-Chamberlain to come on, and they're like an attacking midfielder and a 3, aren't they? You can't put both of them on in a 2-man midfield against Modric and Kroos, so it was hard to know what to do. But
he brought Carlyle with about 2 minutes to go, which I couldn't see any sense in that.
I couldn't understand that. That's shocking. That.
What's happening with him? What's the ear on the ground saying in Liverpool? Is he in the doghouse? Did something happen at the holiday party with Ula?
For Carvalho?
Yeah, Carlyle. Yeah. I mean, he looked great in the first half. First half of the season. Looked okay. He's coming along slowly. Then all of a sudden, nothing. He got mothballed.
But he hasn't
what, 2 weeks
looked
ago.
like for Harvey Elliott to play every single game this season. He hasn't looked streets behind Harvey Elliott, has he? So it's strange to see that Harvey Elliott's get a chance in every single game we're playing. And
Every single game,
yeah, which is just like it is weird, isn't it? I have no idea what is going on.
No.
There's something definitely going on. They must be for he brought him on, didn't he, for the last minute or so last night?
Yeah.
Again,
I think it was even less than that. I think it was like seconds, wasn't it? When I think
it was still while the penalty decision was going on. Brought him on. And he stood there for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Never done that.
Yeah. Simicast hasn't made a difference.
You might as well go,
yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Klopp
likes to bet them in, doesn't he? So maybe he's doing that. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's disgraceful in all honesty. You know, the lad comes up and the winner he scored again against oh no, that was better. No, it was young Carlyle against Newcastle.
Yeah.
You know, the last minute as well.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's been I haven't seen anyone ever slate him after a performance or anything. Like, I've never been thinking he was terrible.
No.
As you say, I'm not saying he should be starting every week, but he should be getting more minutes in it. Yeah, it's just strange what's going on.
Yeah, he's getting minutes now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's something like that.
So does he stay?
Brian Headley, you're classed by Madrid to play. You never walk alone after the game.
Yep.
Well, we said that before. It was excellent. Yeah. Unbelievable, actually. I didn't think.
Nice move.
I thought I was hearing things.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you. And I was going to go to Brian, but I won't. I'll go straight to repeat. Okay.
Right.
If Liverpool was a pummeled Madrid last night, say 5-0, and we went through.
Yeah, no chance.
If they played, you never walk alone.
No, to be honest with you, I was watching it with my missus, and she's a blue, and she said, "It's like, why are they playing that? They're taking the mick out of you there, aren't you?" Know, that's like that was my first reaction, to be honest. And like you saw it after what Ancelotti said, and obviously they were trying to be nice with it. I don't think they were, but we were trying to like rub our faces in it. But it did feel a bit like, all right, we beat you now. Yeah, tap you on the back, off you go. We beat you every time.
If we would have beat them last night,
I'm gonna be a Tom. I'm made up. You said that. Do you know why? Because I was sitting here like that. And you know what my first terminology was that came like through my head? Patronisation.
Yeah.
They're patronising us.
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah. And that's, as I said before, they're the only team who aren't scared of us, and that's the treatment they get. We're an easy team. Like, we're their Porto, or, we play them and think, they're going to put 5 past us. We're going to win that game, and that's what they were thinking. And I think they did mean well, but as you say, if there was a real rivalry and we'd had played better or maybe won more games against them, then there's no way they probably would have played it because they'd have feared us more. So yeah, my initial thought was that it was a bit patronising. And looking back, they were trying to be nice, but I think it just shows that they think they're much better than us, which they probably are, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, they thought they were better than us.
They're a lot better than us.
Yeah. It's sad to admit. Maybe it was just a superiority complex from us or something. But yeah, it's
well, yeah. That's right. Well, there's no harm in playing it. Yeah, playing You Never Walk Alone. Be like us playing forever blowing bubbles for West Ham after we beat them. Beat them in Anfield. There's a kind gesture. Yeah, on your way, on your bike. Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, all the crop, blowing bubbles for him?
Yeah, right. Yes. I mean, yeah. Thanks for coming. Yeah.
Should have done that in 2006.
Yeah. Right. I mean, okay. Yeah. There's a. Yeah. It's a backhanded compliment there.
Yeah.
There was one.
It's just let's just see this.
I have to ask. Okay, I know you read this from. Okay, I'm going to channel my inner Yank. We're all ignorant. We don't know where the rest of the world is, and we don't. I know Ireland's a country somewhere. Orla Headley. Okay, you keep calling him Brian. Okay.
No, that's his wife's name. That's his wife's
Brian.
Thank you.
His wife's name Brian.
Yeah, Orla, yeah.
Okay.
He's
I was
Irish.
gonna say,
He's Irish.
Kirsty's in the other
He's
room,
Irish.
and she's going on her Irish thing, because well, St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, and she's gonna start speaking all these little phrases. And I'm like, what are you saying? Or can you read this? And have me try to read Irish. She loves doing that. Anyway, I thought,
I should have been clever, shouldn't I? And I said,
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
O-R.
Yeah, I was with you. To be fair, I didn't get how you got Brian from that, but
okay, yeah. All right, thanks. Thank you. Okay.
Michael Carter says, it's been a great show, lads. Pete will buy your book, Got to Take the Dog for a Walk. You never walk alone. Don't take the dog for a walk. What's he like? And he's going to buy your book. Which is good.
Nice one, thank you.
Charlie Kane says, stop talking about last night's match, lads. Have another nightmare like last night. He had a nightmare.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. We can laugh about it now.
Wow.
Do you know what, though? As it says at the beginning of the show, boys, was you're overly disappointed. And I wasn't. I really wasn't. Because I expected it. I really expected it. And I remember going out to Benfica. I remember going out to Benfica in 2006 when we won the European Cup the previous year. The Champions League, and I was so disappointed. I was more disappointed then than I am now, because we lost it at Anfield, and we've been awful throughout the season.
Yeah.
So I wasn't
disappointed that we got beat. Right, I wasn't disappointed that we got beat. It was just that after the first 10 minutes. There was nothing there. Four forwards on the pitch. Nothing.
It was like Bournemouth and Palace, wasn't it? We just looked like we could have played for a week and just wouldn't have scored a goal. And that's
true enough.
We've looked at that too many times, haven't we? So.
Yeah. It just shows you, though, doesn't it? Like our lads there who was commenting, they're as passionate as us, really, as passionate as us. And that's why we're so different. We're so different from other fans, Liverpool fans. And I mean that. They're all, they're sincere, they've all got passion. But what I don't like is if you've got an opinion and you don't follow that opinion, you get lambasted and told. Yeah. I always remember getting told to support another club, and they don't realise that, I was there in '65 to see us win the first FA Cup. I was there again in '77, watching us win our first European Cup, if you know what I mean, and so on right through. I've always been there, I'm a Red. And I'm getting told by some 20-year-old to go and support another club. And
we spoke about this before, Frank. Oh, the four of us here, and whoever else has been coming on, we're all diehard Reds, but we all have different opinions. We don't have to agree with everyone, what everybody says, and that's the difference. We respect each other's opinion, and that's what it's about.
Yeah. So as it says, we've got 17 days in which to try and put our, league form on course, and that's what I meant to ask you as well. I'll go to Brian first. Brian, before the game yesterday, say like last week, for example, say we're playing next week, right? Okay. And I'd say to you, what would you rather have? to beat Real Madrid or to beat Manchester City, to try and finish in the top 4.
Good one.
I'm coming to you as well on this, Pete.
I'd say.
Oh, you're not coming to me, no.
Beat Real Madrid. At least a bright spot in this season. Okay, we thrashed United. Real Madrid, that would have taken a lot of the bite out of the season.
Okay. What about you, Pete?
I think if we beat Real Madrid, it takes a hoodoo off us. It gets us through the next round. And if we beat Man City, you used to say we don't lose the 2 either side of it. It doesn't affect us much. So I'd go Real Madrid and
Well,
probably
say,
get off the next round.
it was really about if we beat Manchester City, it would have got us 4th place. It would have assured us. That's all I meant.
Oh, if it assured us quite well.
Well,
yeah, I'd still take our chances. If you don't get anything for finishing 4th, you get a Bosch trophy if we get our way past Real Madrid, and they're probably the best team in the competition, aren't they? So, yeah, go for the trophy.
But what about you, Tom?
Myself personally, I'd rather finish 4th this season.
Yeah,
that's going to be who we're going to buy. If we're not in the Champions League, we're going to struggle to buy top players.
Would you go along with that, lads? Would you go along with what Tommy's just said? If we don't finish in the top 4, it'll be hard for us to buy top players.
Go on.
There's a chance to finish 5th and still make it.
No, I like your attitude, right?
Well, Arsenal, if they win Europa and they finish and they win the league, it'll defer to the next finisher. So,
no, what he said. What he said was, he said, I forgot what he bloody said to me.
I said, I'd rather be in the top 4. I'd rather be in the top 4 than beat Madrid last night. Because we have got to get Champions League football next season.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, we're not going to attract top players. Even though we're Liverpool, and we've got the best manager probably in the world. Top players want to play in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So you agree with him? Like, if we don't finish in the top 4, we won't get the players that we need. Simple as that.
I think that we would still get them next season. I think everyone. I think Gary Neville says it a lot. We've got a lot of allowance for what we've done the past few years. That maybe we could be more critical of what's going on at the moment. I think players will see that too. When you say Jude Bellingham's the main one, I don't want to keep saying the name all the time, but he's the one that everyone's saying. I think he'd still join us if we don't get Champions League football next year, because I think he'll see there's a project there. I think the year after, if we don't get Champions League football again, then it's going to be a struggle. But we're biasly going to say we're the best team in the country. It's us or Man United are definitely the biggest clubs, and United haven't been in the Champions League quite a few times, and they've still been able to sign big players, and obviously because they spend the money to get them in, and they spend stupid money sometimes. But I think still people want to play for Klopp. They want to play at Anfield, and we'll have European football of some kind. And I think they'll trust the fact that we should be back there next year. This is a rebuild season. Look what we've done. It's not a hard sell, I don't think. So I think for this summer, we'll be all right. But if it goes past that, it starts to become a worry.
Yeah, well, like that, Klopp is all right.
You have to.
Well, that's one of the reasons why Tchouameni never came here, because there was no money for him. That's what I've been told.
No money.
Yeah, we had no money for him. He wouldn't get. He wouldn't give him the money. And it's
the wage or the transfer fee?
No, just the transfer. Just a transfer, and that's why
60.
Real came in.
It was 60 million.
No, he was 80, wasn't he? 80.
Okay, 80 million. But he made 478 million in the last quarter of the season before that. And there's no money?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Totally agree with you, Brian.
Okay, so then, so they're not serious about it again. So it goes back to the top of the organization.
Well, that's what I mean about at the end of the season. You know, we're in desperation for midfielders. You know, that's the priority, midfielders, and I mean top class midfielders, not these fly by nights like Navy Kiter and none of them. We need players with legs, definite legs, energy.
Exactly. Someone who
That's who we need. Point is, will we get them?
you have to.
True enough, yeah.
How do you think the fans would react if you don't? If there's Pete saying about like Jude Bellingham as a must. We've got to get him.
Yeah.
What if we don't get him? What if the owners say no? He's cost too much money. How would the fans?
But you know what? What do we? Never mind the fans. If I was Jurgen Klopp, I'd say, "Is that right? Here's your contract. I'm off."
Yeah, walk
away.
And every fan should walk away
because
too.
the FSG are making him look like two by not giving him at the backing.
Yeah,
and he's probably the best manager in the world when he's on blob. Because he's down, the team's down. It's just a down all round. But if any man's going to do it, it'll be Jurgen Klopp.
And they're not serious about this. They're not serious.
And they're not backing him. So Klopp should say, right, I'm off to that.
Yep. No, they have to get Bellingham.
Yeah.
And
I agree with you, Brian.
We're going to have to spend. There's no real discussion about it, no debate. They're going to have to spend. And if they don't,
agree with you.
And again, we see them for what they are. And I'd say, I wouldn't go spend another ticket. I wouldn't buy another shirt this next season until just poison the well. Make sure the owners sell the club, or I would say boycott. I know Spirit Spirit of Henry won't go along with that, but I think we should as fans and supporters. If it's not serious for them, then it's time for us to find other things to do.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, just before we all wrap up, I just want to mention if you're buying merchandise, go to hat, scarf, or badge. Michael Dean doesn't know how to do this, the owner. He doesn't know how to do it. And go to the hat, scarf, and badge. It's up by the ground. Get his website and get things like this. And
you get the fit yet?
Sorry.
Can you get them to fit yet? Can you get them to fit yet?
Sing it, Frank.
I'm not coming on anymore. Yeah, it's someone here. Look at this. Francine. Klopp's been the protector of FSG. Without him, they would be shown for what they truly are. Francine.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying about next year. If we don't get Bellingham, I mean, everyone said that. We have to get him. If they give Jurgen Klopp nothing to get him, then he should prove what he is and say to that. I'd hate him to go. I don't want him to go. Look, you've got to be a man about it and say, look, I'm not getting backed. They're not backing me and my team. So what am I doing here?
The thing is, you see, no matter how you look at the situation with Jurgen Klopp, he should come under criticism, for some things that he does do and doesn't do. But we all love him, and we don't want to see him go. We never want to see him go. And these silly people who say Klopp out, it's absolutely ridiculous. The sale of Jota will pay towards Bellingham, Francine says.
Yeah, well, I don't think she's wrong there.
Well, that's what we said before.
We're short 3 forwards now. Okay.
Pete, have you enjoyed it?
Yes. Wish I'd had me tea before, but other than that, yeah, great. I'm only joking. No, it's been good to have a good chat about it. As you say, I think we're all having that 13, 14 day break, whatever it is, coming off the back of that Real Madrid result. It's going to be a long break of being a bit somber of, we've lost against Bournemouth, lost against Real Madrid, and it's a lot riding on what comes up in the future. But it's nice to talk about it and realise.
Have we ever lost? Yeah, I think we have. No, have we ever lost 3 on the bounce?
Probably the COVID season, and we lost like 5 in a
Yeah,
row.
20.
Yeah, but that was the
2020,
home
I think,
games,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was the home games. We lost 6 on the bounce home games.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we lost an away game in the middle of that somewhere, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I don't know. But let's
I
not
don't
do
think
it.
we have, I don't think we've ever lost 3 on the bounce.
Well, it could quite easily be 3 losses in the 3 games after. That's not me being negative. They're all very good teams, aren't they? So let's hope we're not breaking any records. But
I mean, if we're going to prove ourselves, the next 3 Premier League games are going to show what metal we've got.
Yeah, exactly. It's that'll tell us how the season's going to end, isn't it? And it's worrying or exciting. Just depends what your outlook is. Let's say it's exciting, and if it happens otherwise, we'll be upset anyway. So let's be excited that we can go and get 9 points, and we're back in the race for top 4. No distractions. Diaz is back. Everyone's positive. Let's think like that, eh?
I think that's a very good point to leave on, actually. So listen, Pete, will you come back on again?
Of course, yeah. Just, you've got me number, so anytime you need me, I'm happy to help.
Stuff. Excellent, that's amazing.
Thanks for having me.
See, these are 2 regulars. These this Brian fella all the way from Seattle.
He knows more about Liverpool than what we do, Brian.
Anyway, it's just for me to say a big thank you to all the lads for their coming on tonight. I'll be back next Tuesday. I think I've got Jeff Gould. I think I have. I've got someone on anyway. I know I think, is it Manos? No, Marios.
Marios, the Greek author, the social one.
Yeah, the Greek lad, yeah. I've got him, I think, on next Tuesday.
Yeah.
What day are we? Yes, Thursday, isn't it? I'm just losing it, for all these days. I'm doing shows of a night, I'm doing shows of a day. Blimey.
Wait till Mason comes round with the tablets.
Yeah. Listen, boys, again, Brian, thank you so much. Tommy, thank you. Honestly,
my pleasure, mate.
And you, Pete, thank you so much. And I'll speak to you all
again. 2 great lads as well, Peter and Brian. Thanks. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you,
nice
boys.
To meet you all. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you so much, boys. I love you all. And it's just for me to say good night, and I'll see you all next Tuesday. Ciao.